Alright folks, so I just had a fun video. I'm gonna probably create a couple of clips out of that and post. But I am gonna just yap about some stuff for a while because I just need a break. Oh, by the way, I just quickly changed my DP on Twitter and everywhere. This probably looks way better than I actually do, but that's what social media is for, I guess. So anyways, I'm just gonna look at a few shots and then maybe some video, right? Let's see. Oh, doesn't matter. Unless there's a good refurb one, but okay. Cool, let's go.
By the way, there's someone that interviewed at 2 companies ago that when we asked him about himself, he said he has been very interested in death lately. I've told this story
What the hell?
few times. Just as a good sidebar, if someone asks you what are you interested in lately and you say death, it's like a really bad sign. Okay, like typically speaking,
What's been happening in his streams?
that's how you don't get the job. Just throwing it out there. It's not, dude. It's a banger opener. It's not a good icebreaker. Okay, that's as good of an icebreaker as saying, "Hey, how much do you weigh?" Just enough to break the ice. Like that. Honestly, typically.
All right.
We can talk about some of the features that really stood out to me and that might make a huge impact for you.
Emacs. Okay. Okay.
I think especially if you're a student, you might find this particularly interesting, or if you're
Probably the note taking with org mode.
somebody that has to write a lot of LaTeX or other file formats that are a little bit more obscure and a
Org
little bit
mode.
more technical to have to try and adopt, you might find that this is a good solution for you. You can actually export org files to any file format. This includes like Markdown, HTML, LaTeX, all of it. And so you can basically just get really comfortable writing org files and make that your blog posts are all just org.
See, my problem with Emacs is very simple, okay? Nobody, I haven't met or even seen or heard of a single person, people like influencers other than Bash, who use Emacs for real. And even Bash uses Doom Emacs, which is supposed to be Emacs in evil mode, which is basically with Emacs with Vim motions, something like that. That's what it stands for. So that's still Vim. It's the ideal case. I get why you would go to that and not come back. It's because it is like Vim with that won't break. Vim where you don't have to worry about plugins. Vim that's going to just you can do. It has org mode, which I've heard crazy things about. And basically replaces everything else, right? You can have email, you can have Slack, you can have everything built into it. You can have your music built into it. So it's like the ultimate rabbit hole, right? And you get Vim motions. So Vim motions are the best. Okay, there's no comparing Emacs. I do know one. Oh, sorry. Now I do know one person actually who uses Emacs in person. One of my seniors at work do use Emacs, but then he only uses it like people use Nano, but he's really good at it. So yeah, maybe he'll influence me to use Emacs someday. But in general, I don't really have a thing because Doom Emacs is not Emacs, right? You're not really trying the what is it called, the control for everything thing. And I don't really think anybody wants to try that. So
files, but you export them to HTML or
okay, org mode. I thought we would talk about something else. Org mode is fine. It's a known pro of Emacs. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this one. Typical company vibe coding stuff. Okay, I'm not playing that one. I want to watch this, but I'm not. I'm gonna watch it like offline. Linux works on Razor apparently. So what this tells me is that it did not work on Razor before. By the way, I'm really personally like. There has been progress, like literally, like I think 2 days back, there has been some progress about Asahi. It was on Phoronix. Yeah, progress on M3. So there is hope. I literally posted about it on Twitter that there is hope. I don't have to sell my MacBook anymore. But it's like literally 3 people working on it. I don't know. I would really volunteer and work on this, but I don't really know where to start. But yeah, looks like they've done some stuff. The trackpad is working, the keyboard is working, lots of things were working. I can't find it, yeah. And some stuff is going on, so that'll be good. Let's find a video to look at. A video that's not gonna make me feel bad, please. Yeah, headphone hacking. I think this is one candidate. It's just
Hackers are hacking headphones, and you may be
I
thinking,
saw a
what?
reel about
Is that
this
even
before.
possible?
So bottom line, apparently, there's some vulnerability in a particular framework on majority of Bluetooth headphones. These ones are safe, including Bose QC, some particular model we talked about. Apparently, you can literally like just send data to headphones. 11 minutes sounds good.
Now, that's what I thought when I
try to understand it.
first heard this topic. The idea of hacking a pair of headphones, how could you do that? Why would you do that? And what is the worst thing that can happen? This story picked up some steam when an article about a week ago came up that says Apple fixes Beats Studio Buds flaw that allows hackers to spy on conversations.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, data that's been like passed to and fro from headphones.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, like maybe there's like an RCE bug in like this one model of headphones, okay, not a big deal. But the rabbit hole on this goes really deep, and I'm honestly shocked more people aren't talking about it now or weren't back when this happened, which wasn't recently. For context,
June 18, that's a long time.
right? Apple makes these things called Beats Studio Buds. I don't know when the acquisition acquired like Beats, but basically Beats by Dre has these Studio Buds that are a Bluetooth. Again, this came out last week. If you dive deep into the actual sources of this article, they reference another article that came out over a year ago. Bluetooth flaws could let hackers spy through your microphone. So this article is just the publicity on Apple patching and fixing their version of the bug, reduce headphones, that I still can't believe didn't get talked about more. Like, I'm just now hearing about this. As you can
Yeah, this is the list I saw. Marshall, Jabra, dude, I had Jabra Elite 65 something. Wow.
see, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly. Bose QC, right?
list of headphones is large to include some pretty big players like some Bose headphones, some Jabra headphones, some JBL headphones, Marshall.
Okay then. Well, I don't use this headphone day to day or whatever, but dude, this is basically every headphone. Only AirPods are missing here.
A lot of those, Sony, a lot of Sony. The list goes on. What is the vulnerability?
Okay.
So there's this company called Aroha. I'm just going to say Aroha. That's probably wrong. I'll also speak a little bit of Spanish with Aroha. Aroha, so C, system on a chip.
Low level, really cool guy, by the way. Almost, probably cooler than Prime Gen. Definitely subscribe.
Which basically
Turned out to be an ex-Microsofty though, but whatever.
are the chip that is doing the Bluetooth, right? It is a controller that is meant to do the communication to speak Bluetooth. It is a Bluetooth system on a chip. Now, when you are a manufacturer or somebody that wants to develop with these systems on a chip, what's going to happen is the company is going to give you not only the chip, but the SDK, the software development kit, that allows give you something else to work with, right? They have to give you the actual code that allows you to talk to the chip, to give you abstractions to actually use it.
Drivers, basically, but okay.
Here's the problem. That SDK, the one that all these headphone vendors depended on, has these three
This P2B is scary sometimes.
vulnerabilities. Missing authentication for yacht services. I'm not going to say it again, but just I thought that was funny. Missing authentication for Bluetooth, BR, EDR, and critical...
What do you mean by missing authentication? Like, that's just... I mean, there's this thing, I want to try it out actually. I heard about this sometime back. Orally, right? Again, from low level only I heard it. Orally books. Yeah. Let's just find some book. Let's just go to design data intensive applications. Okay. So this book on Orally is paid, right? Unlock full access, right? I can't really read it fully. I have to do free trial and all that crap. But apparently if I just go here and add a query param called AR, it takes me to a page that can just select some institution, whatever. I'm just gonna say, I don't know, Alto University. I'm gonna go Alto Uni Mail. And then you just get the mail ID alto.fi. Thank you. I go back here, I select this, I do sign in. Okay, and apparently I can just say, oh wait, this has, okay, I don't know, add this thing, login. Okay, this is asking for a password. The video I saw was that it didn't, maybe it was some other university, I'm not sure. Some of these universities had a issue where it just took your email and just worked. Or I think even this is just sign up probably. And you just had free access to this with a query parameter. That's just crazy. I'll try to find the reel actually. Orally missing authentication low level TV. I think he probably had a reel about that. Uh, uh, Show me the reel. Doesn't say. Probably in shorts. This one? No. Okay, I can't find it. He has a treasure trove of stuff. Fine.
Full capabilities of a custom protocol. This is where it gets in, like, again, the world of embedded devices. I've made videos on this.
I want to get into embedded.
I have another video coming out on like just
Apparently the security is really bad there.
random Temu embedded shit. The world of embedded devices never ceases to amaze me in how they are somehow unable to just have basic software development lifecycle practices to like disable bad features going out to the public, okay? And I'm not trying to shit on any companies, I'm really not, but like the stakes are so high, not in like the headphone space, but in like the IoT, OT space, different video, different talk. This same protocol over tool, right? Literally configuration was doing vulnerability. Okay, so the research started when this organization was doing research on this thing called the Orcast Transmitter PC configuration tool, which, mind you, is a USB traffic tool, right? Literally, it is a tool meant to configure one of these chips, an application that uses an Aura chip over USB. So, like, on its own, you're like, okay, it's USB, who cares? Turns out, this same protocol over USB that can be used to configure the device is also accessible over Bluetooth transport. Bluetooth, by the way, has two kind of like transport modes, GIAT and RF COM.
Okay, I didn't know that, but okay.
I'm not like a huge Bluetooth expert, but I know these are like the two main transport channels that exist for Bluetooth. And this protocol is accessible over Bluetooth. Also, it's accessible without authentication. If you're a developer, one of the easiest ways to stay ahead of vulnerabilities in your code base is know.
Like last year there was this thing with McDonald's India where you could actually like order whatever you want and pay whatever you want. This is basic API vulnerability.
Knowing where and why your code breaks in the first place. And that's why today's video is sponsored by Sentry. Sentry is an easy again, and this found through these errors. Again, things like this you don't really think abilities. Thank you for sponsoring the video, Sentry. Let's get back to it. Now, a simple protocol with some simple lack of authentication. What could be so incredibly wrong with that? Well, if you read the functionality of the race protocol, because mind you, it is a configuration tool, you are able to, over the air, within the range of
Oh yeah, I saw. Apparently, you can like literally like send code over that can run.
Bluetooth device, you're able to read the flash of the device, read the RAM
override the memory and just get RC
of the device, and oh, mind you, write the RAM of the device. So what you can do is use this to read the RAM to get the current state of memory, to know kind of how the stack is set up, where all the different functions are, and you can just conveniently insert your own piece of shellcode and then inject one of the link registers or something to point back to your shellcode and hook the stack or whatever to get code execution on these headphones. Okay, so I was doing a little more research. I kept reading their write-up, and eventually they linked to a toolkit that they wrote that's called the Race Toolkit. So again, this is literally just a Python script that's able to interface over I think it's a Raspberry Pi Pico, a Raspberry Pico, to act as a Bluetooth interface to talk to one of these headphones and do something. Maybe it's not a Raspberry Pico. Let's see here. Sorry, it depends on you specifying a USB device or some kind of a CI, a host control interface, to a Bluetooth device to talk to it. But what they very quietly don't talk about in this report, which I don't know why, because it's pretty badass, is this FOTA feature that they wrote in their toolkit. Firmware over the air. This command performs a firmware over the air, or is it?
Like when you came up with that symbol, that abbreviation, isn't that alarming right then? What do you mean?
Firmware over the air firmware update. We re-implemented the photo process and have observed it during an update on our devices. Obviously, don't use this if you don't know what you're doing, because if you send it firmware that is malformed, it does not boot, it will brick your headphones.
Oh shit! Okay, okay. I was going to try this, but okay.
But what does this mean? The ability for you to be able to push a firmware image over the air onto a device you also can wirelessly get remote code execution on means that this is a wormable.
That means you can break headphones.
RCE, meaning that if I have a piece of malware that I can shoot over the air,
So it's not just malware. You can just send wrong code and just brick people's headphones. What the hell?
And in the malware is code to do other photo updates. It can inject itself into other headphones as
with the
people
wire.
walk around. How did this not get more attention? This is insane. And what makes it even crazier is if you consider the average person, their tendency to update the firmware on their devices. Oh, and like the amount of devices we're talking about here. And again, this is just the ones that these people, these researchers went out and were like, oh, okay, this chipset is in this device and it uses this SDK, so it is vulnerable. There are probably other devices that are also vulnerable that no one is talking about, right? But again, you could write, yeah, I'm not saying to do this. I'm saying from like a defense standpoint, like literally this could be bad. You could write a wormable RCE that like targets this version, and in that malware, it knows to shoot other malware, other headphones, and there's just a network of headphones. Oh, I guess part of the thing you should want to know is like, what do you do if you get code execution on these headphones? Well, these headphones right there is just a Bluetooth interface, and Bluetooth connected devices are actually very privileged in a phone. Well, how you can't just
Really? Why?
pair an arbitrary piece of headphone to an arbitrary piece of phone. If you were to do, for example, dump RAM command, let's see if I can find it. RAM. Yeah. If you want to read all the RAM from the device, you can dump the Bluetooth link table, which has the cryptographic keys that headphone is using to authenticate with the phone. And then you can pull those keys down and impersonate those headphones. And then suddenly you can eavesdrop on calls. You can submit any kind of command that a hands-free device could do on the phone. You could read their contact.
Dude, security is amazing. I want to do some stuff with this too.
All
Security, games, and kernel. These three things, dude. And infra, of course, all of this, but
that stuff just because the headphone has a bug. So by the way, this applies to not only Bluetooth Classic, like the normal like paired and authenticated Bluetooth, but also Bluetooth LE, Bluetooth LO Energy, which is more of like the pub sub, like simpler version of Bluetooth. So again, like this is the kind of bug, by the way, when people are like, oh, is Black Hat dangerous? Should I bring a burner phone? It's like, no, actually, like the Black Hat and DEF CON SOC, the networks around them, like as long as you're not like using an unpatched laptop and going to DEF CON and Black Hat and connecting to all of the Wi-Fi networks, generally you're safe, right? No one is throwing like proximal iPhone iOS 0 day at you unless you're like a government official or a journalist, okay? But these kinds of bugs that are really not that patchable, they're wormable, and they're wireless, and no one really cares about them because they're headphones, are like the ones that like you may actually see some nonsense going on at a con like this. I wanted to talk about this, just bonkers to me that we haven't heard more about this. And I guess we kind of did a year ago. Part of the reason you may be wondering, like, why did it take so long for them to reveal this or to disclose this? So if you go to the actual, the timeline of disclosure, they emailed Aurora, whatever, March 25th, 2025. They did not get an email back from them until May of 2025, so 2 months later, and then there was no confirmation of an SDK update with a fix until June, and then they were waiting for a couple more bugs to get fixed before they went full disclosure. But just interesting that like it took a very long time. So December is when this research was published at 39C3, and then now it's getting a lot more heat because Apple finally pushed out an update for their version of the headphones that were also vulnerable. Again, this should have more attention. I'm not sure why it doesn't. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Love you. Oh, and by the way,
another reason to get AirPods, buddy. They have the team and chip. They have the insane security standards of an actual tech company rather than an audio company. Dude. I don't know. I wonder. I'm tempted now. What I wanted to do a little bit of ECS game dev. I wanted to continue my kernel dev learning, and I also wanted to try to get into my headphones. But then I don't want to risk breaking my headphones. Dude, this is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna end it there.